Hello everyone! I'm sorry about my voice, I'm sick right now, but I'm trying to pre-film some videos so I can get videos out every week, and so you'll have to deal with my congested voice for a couple of them. And I'm sorry if I cough in the middle of the video, I can't help it. And that's why I have this beaten down look to me. So today I'm going to be filming some of my favorite books that I read in 2017. Yeah, 2017, it's 2018 now. I mean, I read a lot of books, but a lot of them were in series, and I don't want to have like multiple books in the series in this haul of my favorite books. So I have some books that I didn't like as much, but that's because they weren't part of that yeah, you get it. You know. So here we go. The first one is a book that I've had on my TBR since I was 16 years old. I'm 21 now, so it's been a hot sec. And everyone keeps telling me to read it, like, you need to read this book, and I just kept delaying and delaying and delaying. And I finally got it at, I think I got it at Book Outlet, probably, knowing me. And I read it. It's The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. So this came out like a long time ago, but I read it and I was in love with it. And one thing I love about Michelle Hodkin is she knows how to leave you on a cliffhanger that wants you to buy all of her books. I immediately, as I finished this, went and bought the rest of the books, and I finished those really fast. And it's just an awesome series. And there's depression and stuff in that, and things like that I usually don't read, but it was really interesting to read about it. And like, you think like a book this big, like it would take a while to get through, but no, I finished it in a day and it was awesome. And it's nothing I've ever read before, and I didn't think I would like it because you wouldn't think that it's like a fantasy type book, but it is, and I loved it. And actually now The Becoming of Noah Shaw is out, and I've read that one too. Next is, I should put that in a different pile. Next is Of Poseidon. Obviously I got this at Book Outlet. And this book is about this girl who, I need to read the book. I read this at the beginning of last year. Oh yeah, she finds out she can communicate with fish, and this guy like sees her doing it, and then like her best friend dies and she's trying to like cope with her best friend, but then this guy moves to town to get to know the girl, and I'll just say, you probably tell from the cover, has something to do with mermaids, and I love mermaid stories for some reason, and it was really interesting. And I ended up reading all the rest of the series really fast, and I follow Anna Banks on Twitter now. She's really funny. Next is a book, I actually read it, I think when I was like 16 or 17, back when I got all my books at the library and I had a library card. Now I buy all my books. I was on Book Outlet and I was like, this book sounds interesting. And I got it, and turns out I got like 20 pages in and I'm like, wait a second, I've already read this. And it's about this girl who is a popular cheerleader, has a football boyfriend, blah 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 blah. But then stuff happens. And she finds out that she's not a normal teenager, and obviously it has to do with witches because it's called Hexed. And then I read the second book this year, and that was good too. And it's only a duology, but I wish there was more. Next is another book that's been around for a while, Across the Universe. And I've heard about this one for a while, and I decided to finally pick it up when it was on Book Outlet. Literally all my books come from there. And one thing I have to say is, have you seen Passengers? That, like, I started reading this and I was like, Passengers, ooh, there's a bookmark in here. Don't let the muggles get you down. But yeah, I thought of Passengers the whole time, and it was really interesting. I mean, it's not exactly like Passengers. It ends differently and stuff, but I really liked it still. And I have the second and third book, but I haven't read it yet, so I need to do that. This is one I read recently because when I was little, I loved Blood and Chocolate. It's this werewolf romance-y movie that it's been around for a long time because I saw it when I was younger. And obviously it's called Blood and Chocolate because the movie is too. And it's just about this girl who's a werewolf, and like everyone's trying to get her to like settle down with like a werewolf. But she's like, ooh, I like this guy who's a human. And it's actually different from the movie, so it was very interesting to see that. And yeah. Apparently she's got some other good series that I'll need to have to read too. Here's another popular one that I have read this year. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I'm a horrible person. I saw the movie first because like I wanted to read the book first, but I didn't get it. And then my cousins were like, "Come with me," and I was like, "Okay." And the movie was awesome, and so I decided to read the book. And honestly, I thought the book and the movie were pretty similar. There were some other, there were some details that were different, but overall, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, not everyone agrees with my opinion, so I'm just saying. Next is another popular one where I saw the movie first, and I feel horrible. But my little from my sorority bought this for me for Christmas, and I read it same day, all in 24 hours. And that is Everything, Everything by Mikayla Kennaugh. And this book was everything. It was such a cute read, and it was nice to get over like a bunch of fantasy books in a row to finally read a contemporary that I don't read very often. And I really, really liked it. It's about this girl. It's just like, it's like Bubble Boy, if you've seen Bubble Boy, but like book version confined into her house. And it's very interesting. And I like learn stuff, and there's drawings, and it's just wonderful, and you should read it. This next one, this isn't the actual book I'm talking about, but I don't have the book with me. It's on my phone. And it's the Love It Steaks series by Carolyn Sparks. This is her other series. It's just a placeholder. The Love It Steaks series. It's about vampires and romance, and it's just awesome. And I really liked it. I read the whole series when I was on my cruise in Europe, and it was awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And when we're on to romances, here's the other one. I actually read this series when I was 15, I think 15. It's a romance vampire again, obviously. And this is by Lindsay Sands. I think she's like the most popular romance. This isn't the first book, it's like the 5th book or something. But I only read like the first 7 when I was in high school, and then I didn't read them for a while, and then recently I bought the rest. There's like 24 or something, and she's still going. And I read those on a different cruise this past year, and I fell in love with the series again, and I love Lindsay Sands. Next is a book I got for Christmas last year, and I read it like this time, but last year, so I don't really remember much. And that is Frostfire, the Canaan Chronicles. And that is by Amanda Hockey. If you've read the Triel series, which is about trolls, this is inadvertently related. I think the characters from the other one are mentioned, maybe? Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, because it says from the world of Triel. And this one's about this girl who tries to become like a fighter, which is rare, and she's like an outcast because she's from like a different troll tribe. And yeah, it's really interesting, and I liked it up until like there was a certain part in the books that I didn't like, but I still liked it. Next is another popular one that was a movie. I think I saw the movie before this one too. I'm a horrible person. And that is The Fifth Wave. And this one is about aliens, if you didn't know. Another bookmark. And it's like the first wave, the second wave. So the first wave is darkness, second wave, lucky escape, third wave, unlucky survive, fourth wave, just one rule applies, trust no one. And it's just about her trying to like escape aliens and stuff, and it's very interesting. I have the second book, I haven't read it yet. So we're getting into the good stuff now. One of the most anticipated reads of mine this year, A Court of Wings and Ruin. I love Sarah J. Maas. If you've seen any of my videos or me on Twitter or on Instagram or whatever, you know I love Sarah J. Maas. She is goddess of writing fantasy. I love her. She writes like YA type writing, but then she had some like sexy themes into it. And let's just say Rhysand is bae. I just love this series so freaking much. I just reread this one like a couple days ago, and I'm not gonna like give a description of this because you might not have read the first book, so it's awesome. Go read it. Next is Lord of Shadows, and this baby is so big. How many pages is this? Almost 700, 699. Actually, it's like a little shorter than A Court of Wings and Ruin, but that has thinner pages, which I hate. I hate thinner pages. But this is the second book in the Dark Artifices series, which is in the Shadowhunter worlds, like all the other books. And that ending to this book, I was dead. I was like, how could you do this to me? And we have to wait till next November. It isn't even this May. I delayed reading this book until the end of the year just because everyone told me there was a cliffhanger at the end. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to survive a year and a half. So now it's only a year that I have to wait. But, And this is the last book I have for today. And it is Empire of Storms. Oh, I forgot to bring up, I also read Tower of Dawn this year, which is the book after this. I should have grabbed that one. Oh well. Empire of Storms it is. But this series, I read Akotar first, which is the Court of Thorns and Roses, and I fell in love with that one. But that one's still my favorite, maybe because I read it first, I don't know. But this one is the Throne of Glass series, and Sarah has sucked me in again. I love her, and the ending of this book, I was like, how can you do this to me? And I read this last January, so from the time I read this, I had to wait like a year and a half or more. So it comes out this September, I think. And it was just, it's so hard to wait. I just want to know what happens. But I'm very excited to see how she does the last book. So that is all I have for some of my best books of 2017. And I hope you liked it, even though I've got a raspy voice. And I'll see you next time. Bye!